Number 17, Texas Tech heads to Salt Lake City to take on number 16, Utah Utes. Utah about a 3-point favorite right now. This game is 12 o'clock Eastern time on Fox. Early 10 a.m. local kickoff. Could play a bit of a role, by the way. Maybe a little slower, maybe a little sluggish, maybe a little more methodical start for these two teams. Beyond the stats here, a lot of intangible factors that favor the Utes here. We know Rice-Eccles Stadium is a notoriously difficult environment for visiting teams. This fan base will go nuts, high altitude. This is a really fantastic opportunity for both these programs to kind of make a declaration. Here we are, guys. We're not going anywhere. Big noon kickoff will be there. That'll be live from Rice-Eccles for the very first time. Texas Tech's had a fantastic offseason, a meteoric rise in conversation points. Is it sustainable? We'll find out. What about Utah? Are they able to get back to the physical dominance they have long been known for? At first glance, these two teams are basically mirror images of each other from a statistical profile. All right, well-rounded, elite in areas. Both programs rank in the top 15 in offense, defense. Makes you think this is going to be a evenly matched ball game with two potential powerhouses. However, the numbers are very impressive, but it does come with a bit of a caveat, the quality of the competition. Utah in particular, their strength of schedule is about 120 right now. On the other side, Texas Tech, they're at 136. Utah does, however, have a win against a Power 4 opponent in UCLA, but we found out that doesn't mean very much. Texas Tech is led by Joey McGuire. Biggest change this year within the staff, new DC and Sheil Wood, who's been brought up from Houston and has so far orchestrated a pretty significant turnaround on that side of the ball. Utah's staff, fantastic staff. Kyle Whittingham, one of the best in the business, new OC, but Morgan Scalley is still there as the defensive coordinator. That's been a long-time strength. The quarterback matchup is fantastic. Texas Tech's Baron Morton, been around for a long time. He's playing his best football of his career. Through 3 games, he's been super efficient, over 70% completion, nearly 1,000 through the air, and 11-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. But it's the chunk yards that I love. He has 18 completions that have gone for 20-plus yards. So his strengths are not only on the deep ball accuracy, but he can process with pre-snap. He does a really good job of creating things when the pocket breaks down. And on the other side, it's Utah's Devin Dampier, one of the most entertaining players in the sport. He's thrown it really well this year, 73% on the completion, 7-0 touchdown interception ratio, just 2 sacks. And he's also, like I said, 0 picks. So not a lot of mistakes being made right now. What is the matchup of the game that we're most intrigued by? Texas Tech's offensive firepower against Utah's traditionally dominant defensive prowess. Question number 1. Can Texas Tech's firepower win against Utah's secondary? This is not a system that's going to dink you and dunk you to death. It's a vertical passing game. It's going to challenge you at every level of the defense. And Texas Tech right now is number 2 in the country in passing yards per game. They're averaging about 383 yards through the air. They are 8th in passing yards per attempt at over 10 yards per attempt. So we've talked about Baron Morton, but he's got a great weaponry, great arsenal of people to rely on. The primary target's been Coy Eakin, who's got 12 for 245 and 3 touchdowns. The Miami, Ohio transfer Reggie Virgil, who's really established himself so far this season. But that's not just the wideouts. They also have some difference makers at tight end. Terrence Carter averages 20 yards per reception. So that's a big body that can stretch the field as well. The depth chart is kind of scattered throughout with a lot of really good players. Utah's secondary, they've kind of established a, quote, no-fly zone over Salt Lake City. They are 20th in passing yards allowed. They're allowing just 134 a game. They're 8th in opponent completion percentage at under 51%. They've been fantastic on yards per attempt at just 5.4. That's top 25 in the country. And they've capitalized on some mistakes. They got 4 picks this year. Jackson Benny has been standout. He's got 2 picks, took 1 back to the house, but they are going to be without Rabbit Evans, another safety who suffered a season-ending leg injury last week. Question 2, can Utah's pass rush get home? It's a defense that does a great job of preventing big plays, but they also make it really hard for the opposing quarterback to find a rhythm. But the success really begins up front with a really disruptive and relentless pass rush. Utah is currently 10th in the country in sack percentage. They're getting home on nearly 11% of the opposing quarterback's drop back. And you need to keep an eye on their defensive end, John Henry Daly, who has been a force. He's got 5 sacks with the first 3 games. This constant pressure from the front four kind of allows Utah to be a little creative with their coverage scheme, and it sometimes forces quarterbacks into making big mistakes. And this Texas Tech offensive line, if you look at their win against Oregon State, it showed that maybe there are a couple inconsistencies with pass protection, especially on the interior. So they'll be watching that guard to guard more than anything else. How will Utah attack it? How will Texas Tech hold up? If they can neutralize the pressure, give Baron Morton a clean pocket, he certainly has the skill and the weaponry to pick apart what might be an elite secondary. Question 3, can Utah pound the football against Texas Tech's rebuilt front? Utah's offensive success has always started in the trenches. Powerful run game, great offensive line, usually leads to an identity that is all about just handling the line of scrimmage. They are 7th right now in rushing yards per game. Guys, 290 rushing yards a game. They are running the ball almost 50 times a game. Okay, we know what we're getting when we watch Utah. They have a dynamic duo at running back with Wayshawn Parker, who's got nearly 200 yards and 7.1 per carry. Aquari Rogers is kind of the short yardage workhorse who's punched in 4 touchdowns. Another dimension to this rushing attack, too, is Dampier, who is the team's leading rusher with 198 yards on 33 carries. So the quarterback, keeping an eye on him in the run game, is also of pivotal importance. And Texas Tech's defensive line, there is not a team in the country that improved more from last year to this year along the D-line. If you look at what they've done in the portal, they've resourced that position, and they currently look pretty good with some of the returns on investment. They're top 3 in the country in rushing yards allowed per game. They also are even more impressive on a yards per carry basis. They are number 2 in yards per carry right now. So a dramatic change has been kind of spearheaded by these new additions. Lee Hunter from UCF, Skylar Gill-Howard from Northern Illinois. They provide strength and physicality and size needed to kind of control the line of scrimmage to allow these linebackers to flow freely over the top, and Ben Roberts and Jacob Rodriguez, who are very, very good. Question number 4, how much has Texas Tech's defense really improved? Now, they entered the 25 season. The defense was by far their biggest question mark. The 2024 group, for the most part, underperformed across the board, but it was the pass defense that was among the worst in the country. And got to be honest, too, I don't know if I've seen a team tackle as well as Texas Tech this year. Like, this team has tackled extremely well. And if you look at other teams, there's been few that have kind of stood out with when they get contact with a guy, they get him to the ground. Mizzou, SC, there's a few other. I haven't seen Texas Tech miss very many tackles, so that's big in this game as well. Can Utah control the clock? That's question 5. This ground and pound approach leads to them controlling the ball and possessing the ball for nearly 35 minutes of the game up to this point. We know Texas Tech's offense, they're built for speed, they're built for explosiveness. They thrive on maximizing possessions. So it's going to be important for Utah to control the clock. And then question 6, does this game come down to third down? Utah's offense has been unbelievable on third down this year. They are first in college football, converting 73% of their third downs. That's insane, by the way. That's a ridiculous number. The goal across the board is like 45 to 48%. They're at 73. While Texas Tech, they're allowing just over 14%, which is 5th in the country. So good versus good there on the money down. Trend in the game, Texas Tech has failed to cover in 6 straight games in ranked matchups when both teams were ranked. I'll take Utah. I think the home field advantage and Devin Dampier will be too much. His athleticism will neutralize a ferocious pass rush, and I think this offensive line will emphasize the point of attack, and they'll be able to create some surges in the run game.